The most secretive chapter in 1953 began when Frank Olson, a 43-year-old Army bacteriologist working at Fort Detrick, returned to a CIA retreat after a week of meetings and woke thinking the world had tilted. In Washington and in basements across the country, a program with the blunt codename mkultra, authorized by CIA leadership and run by chemist Sidney Gottlieb, was quietly trying to answer the Cold War's most terrifying question: could the mind be controlled, broken, reshaped, made to betray its owner? This is the story of how that answer was pursued and of the human cost when an intelligence service crossed its own moral lines. In the early 1950s, fear of Soviet brainwashing after Korea and the lure of LSD as a chemical key drew the newly assertive CIA into experiments that blurred science, medicine, and criminality. mkultra funded sub-projects at universities, hospitals, prisons, and private labs. It bought silence with grants, contracted researchers who administered drugs to unwitting patients, and even ran safe houses, later exposed as Operation Midnight Climax, where prostitutes lured men who were secretly dosed while CIA observers watched behind two-way mirrors. Frank Olson's arc began as an insider. A civilian scientist on a military biological weapons program, he had access to research the line between defense and offense. In November 1953, at a gathering of colleagues and CIA officers at a Maryland lodge, Olson was given what officials later admitted was LSD without his knowledge. Days later, distraught and fearful he had been compromised, he was transported to New York. On the night of November 28th, he fell from a window of the Hotel Statler and died. The official explanation at the time: suicide. But questions multiplied about why he had been dosed, what he knew, and why the CIA had a hand in moving him to New York. The conspiracy lay in a pattern: secret drugging, experiments conducted without consent, and an agency that hid documents and denied responsibility. mkultra's work sought methods for interrogation, high doses of hallucinogens, isolation, sensory deprivation, electroconvulsive therapy, and combinations with biological agents. Sidney Gottlieb's small group dispersed cash and chemicals to hundreds of projects. Much of it was unregulated and undocumented. In 1973, as allegations of misconduct mounted, then CIA Director Richard Helms ordered the destruction of thousands of files. That act and decades of silence hardened suspicion into scandal. It took the mid-1970s congressional investigations, the Rockefeller Commission, and the Church Committee to drag mkultra into the light. The press published stories of unwitting subjects in hospitals and prisons. Victims came forward with fractured lives. Records that survived by accident revealed the breadth of experimentation and the deliberate secrecy that shielded it. The government's response was a mixture of denials, partial admissions, and eventual settlement. In 1994, the Olson family received a formal apology and a monetary settlement from the U.S. government after Frank's death was re-examined and his body exhumed. Medical experts later noted skull fractures inconsistent with a simple fall, but prosecutors concluded evidence was insufficient to charge anyone with murder. What makes this conspiracy story resonate is not only the shadowy techniques and the destroyed files, but the human fallout. Scientists who were betrayed by their agencies, subjects whose consent was never asked, families who sought truth for decades. mkultra reveals how national security priorities can hollow out ethical guardrails. It also shows how a democracy slowly corrects itself. Journalists, lawyers, and Congress pried open classified doors and forced accountability, however incomplete. By the time the last public hearings ended, mkultra had become shorthand for clandestine abuse of science. Its documents remain patchy, its victims under-recognized, and its precise tally of harm uncertain. But the facts stand. Sanctioned experiments on minds and bodies, a cover-up through destroyed records, and at the center, a man who fell from a hotel window and whose family spent a lifetime asking whether that fall was an accident, a suicide, or the result of a secret program that valued outcomes above human life. In the quiet aftermath, the story of mkultra remains a cautionary tale, how fear and secrecy, in the name of national survival, can corrode the very freedoms they promise to protect.